So Hakrin, top tier hero, free to play viable hero, usable in PvP and PvE for the reasons stated. And if you either have this hero or are considering working on this hero, you should in fact continue to work on this hero. Even post nerf, he is extremely viable. Hello, we're going to talk about Hakrin. I'm going to talk about his abilities. I'm going to talk about the build I use when it comes to gear. I'm also going to talk about where you can use him and why you're seeing him used so much in a lot of different places. If that's what you were interested in seeing out of this video, consider liking the video for its relevance or subscribing to this channel for more like videos. With that being said, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to cover is this kit. Now, a big chunk of why people like him is if you look at this passive, his trait, effectively what he does is give a percentage of his defense bonus to other people on your team. So if you look at the Ascended effect and you do want to send him, and he is a hero that you can get from Synthesis, so for that reason it is easy to send him, and he is a free-to-play viable hero. Grants a team-wide defense bonus equal to 20% of his character's defense rating. Now if you look at the defense, it's S tier, meaning he has the highest base defense you're going to get, which is great because when we go to use gear, we're going to be using defense percentage gear in order to share that defense. Now, his first ability is going to reduce the cooldown of the character's ultimate ability and do some damage. And the reason why this is so crucial is because the reason we use him is because of his ult. If we look at his ult, deals percentage of damage, 120%. Damage isn't really what matters, though. Grants max health up to all team members, and this maxes out 3 stacks, and each stack gives 15%, effectively giving 45% more max health to the team. This is very good for multiple reasons. One of which is because he's giving bonus defense and he has S-tier defense, he is both ramping the defense as well as ramping the HP of everyone on your team. This gives him a very efficient, effective HP or EHP use for your team because you're both doubling down on a static amount of health gained, but then also having the increased defense makes that static health he's bonusing everyone be more effective because you're taking less damage and that health is going to last longer. This is why he's considered such a good hero, because of the 2 ways in which he increases your effective HP. Now, if you look at the second move, he also does a taunt and the damage scales with his defense. Once again, you can see why this is good synergy because we're building him tanky, and the gear is something we're going to go over now. If you look at the gear here, I want to show you what I would probably recommend using on him. You can use Vanguard in particular if you want to get as high as defense as possible. However, I have revival sets, and that is what I'm going to recommend using, as I do believe the revival sets are easier to get your hands on in this game than some of the other sets. And this, since this is a more of a free-to-play hero, I do believe that this hero is going to be the most viable used with easier gear to get your hands on, plus revival is quite good. So if we look at revival, I'm looking, and let me move myself so you can see the stats a little better. I'm looking for stats close to this. I'm looking for focus, so the taunts will land, though it's not my major priority. I'm looking for defense rows, and I'm looking for health. AKA, I would like to be as tanky as possible. If you look at these other pieces, some of these are just health, etc. But I would go with the primaries, meaning your bottom row, the ring, necklace, and boots, all with defense percentage primary and as much flat defense as you can get. For instance, rows like these ones. Or if we go down, let's see, that's boot, that's ring, necklaces, you can see I only really have health on. Don't have too much available there. But if I had a better option, for instance, maybe like this one, where it's defense and I also get resistance and maybe a little bit of focus, that'd be a better option. Although primarily I'd like that crit damage to be health percentage instead, to give you an idea. Revival is also going to restore a percentage of your max HP. And because he's stacking max HP, it's going to restore more and more and more of his HP. And because he has such high defense, the HP that is being healed is also very effective because of the EHP thing I was explaining earlier. Now, one other thing to keep in mind with him in particular is his ultimate ability, if you look at it, is a 4-turn cooldown. So it's a little bit longer, and it's harder to get the triple stacks up in dungeons, for instance, like Gemini Dragon. There is one Gemini Dragon team in particular that uses Hakrin, Santis, Okobi the New Epic, as well as Ganglio. And the reason Hakrin is in that team is to make the people tanky as possible, but also to be the last person alive, so Gemini Dragon will have his poisons eventually trigger then die. That is where Hakrin can shine in PvE. It can shine very well in being the last person alive, so if you just need somebody who's ridiculously tanky in order for the boss to continue to take turns and your team doesn't get wiped out in order for your poisons to trigger, that is something people are using him for. Gemini Dragon can be very difficult to get your entire team to be able to stay alive, and I have a video talking about that from yesterday. However, Hakrin can help with that role. Now, in the harder PvE content, like the Void Towers, etc., people are using them at the higher ranks as well, and the reason being because you compare Hakrin with Methasia, Brand, Blackhorn, basically these extremely tanky type of compositions, and the ramping of HP makes all of the additional passives very effective, like Methasia healing your percentage, Blackhorn healing your percentage, Brand giving percentage HP shields. And for that reason, he is very viable at in-game, late-game PvE content as well. But you're also going to see him poking up in more of the late-game, in-game PvP meta as well. In fact, you can see the top player right now is using him even not max ascended at legend rank, and the reason is once again for the same reasons I implied, tankiness. But in PvP it's a little different because you only get 6 rounds to defeat somebody on offense, and then your offensive team is going to start taking damage over time. Meaning tanky teams like Methasia, Brand, Hakrin, Blackhorn, any of those type of teams have an extreme level of viability in PvP because defense has the massive advantage. You see offensive teams using things like Windstrex with like Urion or AoE defense and a crazy nuke teams. And then the counter to that is just being able to survive, because if they can't kill you, they just automatically lose, basically. They don't get infinite turns to figure this out. It gets harder and harder and they straight up die. That's why using a Methasia with Hakrin, where Methasia can res people, and you can see I have a fairly tanky Methasia. She has S tier health with the additional defense from Hakrin's passive, makes PvP defensive team something people will avoid or just straight up lose to. If you're considering building Hakrin, you're going to want to keep your eyes out for certain elite heroes. You can see right here, he is a synthesis-based hero. If you look at the heroes you're going to need, look at this. You need her, you're going to need Cece, you're going to need, I think this is Valak, if I remember the name correctly, and then Tuzago. Okay, so you're going to want to keep your eye out for these type of heroes, and these heroes anyway are used in some of the other, if you look here at some of the other ascensions, some of them double down and are used in multiple ones, for instance, like Santis. Okay, so keep your eyes out for these elites. Go look at actually Hakrin, make sure you're not crunching this. That's actually not Tuzago, it's Molego or whatever his name is. They got weird names, okay? But go look, confirm that you're not crunching the ones you're going to need, because you can fully max this hero out. Now, I have not maxed mine out yet, which is something else I want to talk about, because if you look, what you want to do with this guy is you want to 100% max his glyphs, because it gives more bonus defense, and obviously that bonus defense is going to be shared with everyone on your team. So this is somebody that you both want to save all your elites so you can max ascend, so that way you're getting the basic health up, you're getting the additional trait, basic attack, speed, but then right here, base defense in the final one, base defense and base health. Again, you want these because that's going to give you even more defense paired with the additional glyphs here, and that defense is going to be shared across all of your teammates, okay? So Hakrin, top tier hero, free to play viable hero, usable in PvP and PvE for the reasons stated, and if you either have this hero or considering working on this hero, you should in fact continue to work on this hero. Even post-nerf, he is extremely viable. Hope this helped. Consider liking and subscribing to help me out in exchange. Love you all, and I'll see you on the next Awaken Chaos Era video.